Yeah, my daughter mad, man. She stay in the kitchen. So, all right.
Have a lot more siblings with that George. They gonna hold you.
Oh yeah, no doubt. So, go ahead, my brother Sincere. I want you to go over again. So you were saying, and I got this on Facebook as well. You know, so the Facebook community could connect with us and get a vibe. So you were saying, who are we to question our existence about God? And you was talking about our ancestors. Can you go over that one more time with us?
Like, who are we to question the Creator on why us or our ancestors went through what we went through, like, and what we going through now? Like, feel me? What kind of past life karma did we create to be going through these things? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's basically what I was saying.
I dig it. I dig it. I ain't knocking it. So my thing is, I would then demur and ask you, who are we not that we can't question our existence in retrospect to who God is? I'm listening.
Who are we not?
Who are we not? So you say, who are we to question our existence about God? So my thing is,
about the
I'll say it.
Or the God, whatever you want to call him.
I'll say it differently. Who do you think we are not that we don't have the right to question who God is or our existence?
I mean, like, I feel like we all are God in our own, like, you know what I mean? Like, we all are like a piece of God, or, you know, just a limited version of God. But, I mean, he is over us. Like, he is the Almighty.
And where you get, and now, hold on, let's slow down. Where do you get the idea from? Well, there's two parts to this. And, you know, I want us to definitely keep the build going. So there's two parts. One part is, if you feel like we are God or a portion of God, then that goes into who we are not and or who we are. Because if we are a portion of God, we would have the right to question God, because then that would be called introspection. Now, if you presume that we are God or a portion of God, I would then say we should have every right to question who God is, because the answers would bring us closer and more resolved to who we are. The next thing is, you know, again, it's the who we are not. You know, if we weren't competent enough to ask questions, then I would be like, yeah, like, who the hell are we to question something like our own existence or God? Because shit, we're dumb as bricks. But me understanding that we are more than just sentient beings, we're greatly intelligent. We have a lot of resources available to us in the form of math and science and different applications that can help us engage this data a lot more efficiently than any other generation that preceded us. I would say, where are we getting these ideas from that we don't have the right to do it? That sounds like a religious protocol. So you say you're not making subscriptions to any religion, but don't you think that you're creating a limitation on yourself by reframing from asking who or what God is? Do you think you're not putting a limitation on yourself? Or are you afraid of the answers you might get?
Nah, I mean, I could admit, like, I am putting a limitation, because I feel like we're not at the point, like, as consciousness-wise, we're not there yet, you feel me, to even question certain shit. Like, we still gotta work on a lot of shit within our own, like, community, and, you feel me, on Earth. Like, we got a lot more work to do ourselves to be even worrying about other shit. Like, feel me, like, why questioning, like, why we going through what we're going through, when we all have, one thing we do have is choices and decisions to do what we want here.
I agree.
We choose to do the wrong shit and create our own karma. You feel me?
Okay.
That's what I think. Yeah.
I'm walking with you. I ain't knocking you, my brother. This is an open bill for us to connect. Let me go ahead, Adriana.
Here's what I believe. I believe God created good and evil. Because if he could create Satan and Satan turned out to be evil, and he knew this, and he allowed it, then, I mean, I just feel like it proves that he created good and evil as well. And I think he is good and evil as well. If that makes sense.
Makes sense to me. And I would contend this. I would say, you know, I like to say that the God that everyone's worshiping is the devil. I like to say that because how could everything else be compromised in existence, but they don't compromise the messaging about God? So, again, it goes back to what I was saying earlier. The Roman Catholic Church has 72 books in their scripture. The King James Version of the Bible, the most popular version of the Bible, most people's Bible, has 66 books. But the Bible is missing tons of books that the Bible mentions. The Bible mentions the book of Jasper. The Bible mentions the book of Wars. You know, the Bible's missing a whole bunch of books. Yet people believe in that Bible, which is to say they believe in God, which the message of God is conveyed by way of the Bible, but the book is missing books. So we wouldn't go to a movie and have the conviction that we're going to get our money's worth if we knew the movie wasn't complete. And we wouldn't get beat in the head for $20,000, $100,000 student loan if we thought the curriculum was going to be incomplete either. But when it comes to religion, you can find out, hey, you do know they took books out of the Bible. And people would be like, oh, the books we got is enough. And that's crazy to me. The books we got is enough. So in my mind, yo, just the fact that you got people accepting certain things like a Virgin Mary, who's a preteen, who's depicted as a grown woman, who's espoused to a grown man that's anywhere between 30 and 90 years old. But then you find out, hold on, Virgin Mary is 12 or 13 years old, and she was espoused to Joseph, who was 30 or 90 years old, or however people want to call it, he was a grown man. We accept that. Once I see that people are willing to accept certain types of information, then I know they got us. And now I look at the whole thing in my evaluation like, you know what? If there's a God, if there's a devil, then the God that people worship is the devil. If the book already can be compromised, and if people can accept adult women holding a child that really are portrayed as children, giving birth to children, and then you bring that to people's attention and they don't care no more, and then this little girl is espoused to a 30, 90, 80-year-old man, and no one cares about that, or Prophet Muhammad and Aisha and a young child, 6, 9 years old, and the consummation of marriage, and no one cares about that, or the Jews that could do oral circumcision onto this present day in New York City, where they put their mouths on the penises of the child and rip the foreskin off by sucking the penises of the child. If everybody's okay with this and everybody's like, yo, just respect people's religion, then I know if there's a God, then the God that people worship is the devil, because he's controlling the narrative. The books are missing. The children are having sex. The babies are getting their cock sucked. Like, oh, this is just crazy. And everyone's saying, hey, respect people's religion. So, you know what I'm saying? At this point, the devil's the one controlling the narrative. If there's a God, the devil's the one who's everyone's God at this point. And the only people that are safe are actually the disbelievers. And like I said, if there's a God, God is not going to be mad at me for rationalizing I shouldn't mess with none of these Negroes' religion, none of these white people religion, because all of them are accepting this goofy shit, and I don't accept this goofy shit. I'm not making subscriptions to it. I'm not looking to make excuses for it. I'm not looking to enable anybody. I hold everyone accountable that believes in any of that, and guess what? A true and living God is not going to see me on the so-called day of judgment and say, yo, I don't understand why you didn't go for it. A true and living God is not going to see that there's tens of thousands of religions and know that I said to myself, yo, I ain't want to be the idiot who thinks I'm going to get the right one out of tens of thousands. So I just chose not to deal with none of them cats and just be a good person and figure it all out when I finally get a chance to connect with you in person. I don't think a God would be mad at me for not believing, because no one gave me anything to believe that was worthy of my mentality. Now, this stuff is worthy for other people's mentality. Hey, I'm not going to, don't question it. Well, it just looks that way. Nah, nigga, you ain't. No. Slavery took place and God didn't intervene. Books were taken out the Bible and no one feels away. Children are having babies and espoused to grown men. Nobody's concerned about any of these things. Guess what? People are winning awards after they make songs talk about sipping lean that's killing our children. They're getting awards after they propagate fratricidal messages to promote our own genocide. First thing they do, I like to thank God. Yo, if that's the case, I miss me with the God stuff. I'll fall back. You guys can keep the God. You can keep all of that. Ain't nobody gonna be mad at me for being on planet Earth and not believing in any of this. I promise you that. I'm not gonna allow no one to guilt trip me into thinking I gotta believe in a God that's allowing all this BS to take place and allowing our people to be oppressed for hundreds of years and even thousands of years and not step in. That's not the God of black people. Well, you know what? It could be the God of black people, and you can make Jesus black, like the sister was saying. I decline from any opportunity to make Jesus black, white, or Asian. I decline from all those. Native American. I decline from each one of those, because all those religions is trash to me, because they're not doing nothing for our people, and they are enabling pedophiles. They are enabling violent, malicious, racist people that are oppressing indigenous people all over. And so I just fall back, man. I'm good. People can keep their God. Like I said, I'm not here on the Clubhouse today. I'm on Clubhouse. For those of you that's on, for those of you that are on Facebook, I'm on Clubhouse building with the good people on Clubhouse. So if you want to get in, it's Brother Polight on Clubhouse. We're gonna have these dope builds. Every app, I have a different type of conversation. So I want to keep it metaphysical and religious and spiritual on Clubhouse. That's my vibe and energy for Clubhouse. But I wanted to do a live stream on Facebook just to give you guys a vibe and how we build. I'm going to pick up some other people that got their hands up, and let's see what you guys got to say. But, and again, I'm not here to condemn anybody or disrespect anybody. So that's why if I hear a contrast in opinion, we're going to let that person communicate all their ideas. And we're going to just vibe, because that's the energy I'm in. We don't have to tear nobody down. I mean, if people want to bang, we could bang. I'm with it. Bang, bang. We could do that. But my spirit and my energy and attitude, where I'm at, I'm just concerned about the well-being of my people. I'm concerned about what they believe in. It has me a bit perplexed. But at the same rate, if they could tell me something that makes sense, I'm willing to make subscriptions. I would love to be out here talking about I'm a God-fearing person. I would love to be. But I really fear the people that believe in God, because they can't be trusted. I don't trust them around my children. I don't trust them around my women. I don't trust them around me. I just don't trust these people that believe in God, because they don't put the onus on themselves to do more research. So they would allow any aspect of that intention to slip through the back door just so they can get into heaven. They're so afraid of not going to heaven that they don't give a damn about the obvious immoral acts that are taking place or being suggested. They want to get into heaven so badly, they just believe just in case. And I can't trust that. Yeah, we on Clubhouse.
So I wanted to build off what you were saying earlier, Brother Polight, about
go ahead, sis.
The devil and stuff. My thing is, like, I don't think people realize, like, all these religions and all these gods, they all have the same devil. Like, it's so weird. It's literally engineered to be the antithesis of the other, so that you feel like, okay, we have a problem, but I'm here to give you the solution. And like, I don't think people look at it that way. Like, when they don't realize there's no problem. Not saying like the world is good or whatever the case is, but they
I got you.
Even with the media, they exaggerate the numbers. And it could be drastic numbers. So if there's 10 bodies, they found whatever out of 100 bodies, it's only 10%.
Yes.
But if you're saying, it's 4 bodies out of 10, now you got 40%. Not knowing that you're not looking at the numbers, you're not looking at the context, you're not looking at everything as a whole. You know what I mean? taking everything for face value for sake of tradition or sake of, I don't know what I'm going to do when I die, instead of we already come in this world dying. So, like,
Real talk.
you know what I mean? So,
Real talk.
it's weird how they all got the same devil. Like, literally, the it's like black and white.
I tell you what, though, speaking to what you talking about, one thing we all agree on is the devil's attributes, but nobody can agree on God. We got 10,000 different religions on God, but everybody agree who the devil is.
Exactly.
And that's how I know if there's a God, the devil's the one that controls all these doctrines and all these religions. He's in every one of these religions, you know. And I like to, on a side note, right? How come Christians are the only ones that need exorcisms? But just keep that in mind, people. Just, you know, I mean, goddamn, I haven't seen no other race, or I would say I haven't seen no other religion need an exorcism but the Christians. That's very interesting. The devil he played a strong role in Christianity. I'm just fuck with some Buddhism or something, so I ain't got to worry about I don't worry about being exorcised or being possessed. You feel me? So I'll go to Buddhism or Taoism or something, because they ain't got exorcism problems when you join their religion. Yo, that shit's crazy.
No one can tell you if he was, like, okay, was extraterrestrial, did he create it outside? Did he create it while on the earth? Is he creating within his creation? Like, nobody, I mean, come on, like, it's just too many questions.
Too many.
That nobody can answer.
No.
Right, and not to question God and all that.
Real talk.
And if I'm mad today, oh, you need to take that hate out your heart. Like, first of all, I could be mad. God made me this way, right? He's all knowing. He knew I was gonna have the attitude.
That's right.
10 o'clock in the morning. He knew. So come on now, like.
You talking that talk? That's right. That's right. You talking that talk? All right. Let me get somebody else on. Tashana Bishop. I'm bringing you in. Tashana Bishop. I see you got your hand raised. I see a lot of sisters getting it in today.
You see me? Okay, cool. I know you're going to pick me that fast. All right, how you doing?
I'm doing good, sister. I'm doing good.
Well, I just wanted to add to your point because it was really good. I'm kind of on the same page with you as far as I like what you said about if you leave yourself open, because you can ask questions about religion as opposed to just accepting whatever was given to you. I feel like you go that route, then you know that everything that you're bringing into your existence is going to help you figure out those answers, and then you have more of a real truth as opposed to something that you've been spoon-fed. But just to add how you were saying that you feel that it's from the devil, you know, in religion, that every book is the devil, and we have to remember they said that he was made in our image. Mm-hmm. So that God that they're spoon feeding and telling you, of course, he's made in the devil's image. That's why it's so much, you know, it's so much negativity in the books. That's why it's so much misinformation. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then it's like, of course, they're going to do that, but then they make them brown. So we can hold him, no matter how silly the story may sound or how much confusion. If we have someone to say, well, you know what, Jesus is black, because that's the last leg, right?
Yeah.
When you get into a conversation, it's like, well, my Jesus is black, you know. Okay. So you can hold on to the craziness as long as you can to relate to it in some kind of way.
That's right.
You know how we are. As long as you black, we gonna go for it.
Real talk. Yeah.
So they created in that way. So I just wanted to point that out. So yes, the God that is being worshipped, it is in truth the devil.
Talk that talk.
Okay.
See, we waking up. Go ahead, sister.
Exactly. And you said, you know, why in Christianity we were the only one needing exorcisms, and it's because I don't like to say I believe. What I understand and know is that God is the consciousness within us that allowed us to be here to experience life, you know. And I've watched many of your talks, and I know that you understand about, you know, us being able to feel and have these senses. You know, we're here to experience life through this consciousness. We just a physical, flesh, but we have that entity within us that allows us,
Yes.
And when you are a Christian or deep into non-factual religions, you will need an exorcism because you've lost consciousness, you've lost yourself. So in order for you to come up out of that, you would need to be exercised. If there's exercise, you have to exercise yourself in order to break that curse up off you. You know what I'm saying? It's just like anyone talk about a self-love journey or trying to, you're trying to exercise and eat better. It takes time. You have to exercise that connection with yourself until you wake up and say, whew, I'm a new me now. So if you deep in that Christianity, it's going to take an exorcism for you to get some knowledge to come through your head.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
Talking that talk.
But like you said, with the Buddhists and everything, their foundation is, understanding your consciousness, your self-love, your connection to all. And it has nothing to do with the entity outside of yourself. It's more of learning how to go in and have your point of view and your actions in life is from that point of view. Because really, that's all we're here doing. Everything that you're doing, saying, acting is from that point of view, your point of self. So that's why we see so many people with self-hate and self-sabotage, because their point of is not in alignment with their consciousness.
Real talk.
So many of us out here need to have an exorcism through a lot of things. So
hey man,
that's all I want to say.
Yeah, you broke that thing down.
About who? A Christian priest or what? What kind of exorcism you mean?
I don't think you should take it so literal. I think it's more figurative. Right. But like the process of being more self-aware, the process of having knowledge of self, that's our exorcism. To live intentionally. Yes. To realize we need to change the way we eat. To realize we need to change the way we eat. To realize we need to question things that's proposed to us that traditionally people just commonly accept. That's the exorcism process. So I wouldn't say like the TV, not the TV rendition, where people got saliva all over their face.
They gonna probably put it up. The fact that you gonna ask the priest to get up something he didn't put in, that ain't gonna work. You are your own savior. You're gonna have to do. It's an intentional understanding of who I am, and it's on you. It's on you 100%. Nobody's coming to save you. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to live intentionally that I am my creator. I'm the creator of this existence, this world that I'm living in. So now I have to take control of myself. I have to make the changes. I have to change my ideas.
And
you see what I'm saying? So
yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact. It's a lot of things we gotta unteach and unlearn ourselves from. You know what I mean? Yeah. So many things.
It's a lifelong process because you'll fall back into that, and there'll be things that can trigger you, but you have to. That's what I say, intentionally, because when you intention, you have a plan. You always stick to your
that's
plan.
Right. That's
you
right.
know what it is.
That's right.
And there's gonna be a lot of things that are gonna be diversions and triggers and things like that, but you have to stay in that seat of consciousness, regardless.
Man, sister, you going in. You going in. You going in.
Yeah.
That's a fact. Like, I feel like I feel like if like more religious people even took a piece of psychedelic, they'll the next day, like the following day, they gonna unlearn. They gonna, you know what I mean? They gonna leave that shit behind them for real. Cause you start seeing things that you never thought you would see. Like, you feel me? Start seeing shit from another spectrum. You know what I mean?
Hey, let me.
Yeah, things you can't even handle. Some people can't even handle this reality. Why you need to look at another one? Let's do this first.
I could dig that. Hey, let me.
Go ahead.
Let me bring in another sister to get the bill. Sean, I see you. I'm gonna bring you in after the sister, Sean Stacks. Let me bring in another sister so we can get as much people building as possible. Donald Raven, I see you too. Joanna Hendrickson, I got you too. Matter of fact, after Sherry, I got you Joanna. After Joanna, I got you Sean. Then after Sean, I got you Donald. So let's go. Let's get it. Sherry Monet, am I pronouncing it right?
Yeah, thank you for allowing me to speak on your platform. Gratitude.
Thank you for allowing us to have you, sister. What's on your mind? Talk to us, Bill.
I'm in a lot of rooms like this on Clubhouse, and what I'm coming to learn is even if you were able to disprove, religion altogether, I'll speak for Christianity. I feel like people are so far gone that they still will continue to, you know what I mean? They'll still continue to practice Christianity. So I'm in a lot of these rooms a lot. I know you and King Los are great friends, and it gets combative after a while. It's like, it's no convincing them. It's almost like, just let them stay. Just let them stay blind, just let them live their Christian life, whatever works best for them, and let them go on their way, because it gets combative after a while. And it's just like, even if you were be able to prove them wrong, they're still gonna continue to practice Christianity. So should we continue, you know what I mean, to press the issue, or just, you know what I mean, let them go on in peace?
Yeah, you're right. I say, it's best that it's half and half. And what I mean by half and half, should we antagonize them? Should we pursue them? Or should we let them be in peace?
And I was going to also ask your opinion real quick, Polight.
Yes.
And sometimes it feels like, in my opinion, sometimes it can almost feel like, even for the spiritual people, that is starting to seem very religious to me as well.
I agree.
So it's like, we could talk about Christians and this and that, but spirituality, like I said, just from my experience being in this room, is starting to become very, just like, to me, kind of turning me off from everything altogether. So I don't know if you made that observation, but that's just something that I've been observing just from being in these type of rooms.
Nah, I totally agree. So on the first part, as far as do we build the Christians or do we leave them alone? I say it's half and half. And what I mean by that is, if we join these forums and build amongst each other to build each other up with our consciousness and understanding, people tend to listen to you more when they're less accountable. Meaning, what you get out of a book, when you read a book, no one's there to let you know when you're in error. You could undergo that process without being embarrassed. So when we have these forums and we communicate our ideas about the nonsensical aspects of religion, they'll pick it up a lot easier if they're not the subject matter at hand. If they're not the person that has to speak to it or for it, if they're not the person that verbally has to be held accountable, and they can just sit in here and just listen to us build, a lot of times they'll take more heed if we're talking amongst each other than as opposed to we talking to them directly. And in doing so, then they might be more forthcoming when they start tearing down the walls of that dogma and say, yo, I was part of that. I was into that. But when you talk to people directly, sometimes just talking to them directly, especially if they know you, it's harder for them to process the data, because the compromise is, oh, I know who you are, or you used to be wilding too. Now you're trying to tell me something. But if they overhear someone else speaking about it, they tend to take more heed. So what we have to do is, sometimes we could talk to them directly, undoubtedly. That's one form of learning. But I realize the best form is, like, everybody that's ever been in my cipher, I've never attempted to convert them over to any form of consciousness. It's always my presumption that if you could be around me long enough and you're not swayed to move in a similar capacity, you don't have to be like me exactly. But if you're not swayed, like if you're still motivated by religion and you spent a lot of time around me, then it would tell me a lot about you. Like, like Jay-Z said, it says a lot about you if you're not feeling us. You know what I'm saying? So that vibe right there is more like, if we just walk in the light of the sun as if all can see us at all times, if we just do our own thing, people will take heed and they'll vibe with us on that merit, And then as far as consciousness or the conscious community per se, it has become like a religion because that's what people know. So we come out of one religious paradigm and then we'll turn the void of religion paradigm into a form of religion because that's what we know. We practice, human beings are habitual creatures. So even when we think we come out of a habit, we turn the new habit forming scenario into something reminiscent to that of the old habit. So what you'll find is, I'm conscious. I do my thing. I'm pro-black. I'm Pan-African. But for some reason, I'm not supposed to have nice cars. I'm not supposed to be around women that wear form-fitting clothes. I'm not supposed to be happy that I made money or show off the money because somewhere there's some kind of rules where people are saying, hey, you can't do that. But that's part of a paradigm that comes from religion. And when I say paradigm, I want to make it clear that a paradigm is a set of rules that's written and unwritten that people make subscriptions to. So, like, for instance, snitching is a paradigm. We'll say or tattletelling is a paradigm. It's not really written into any law book. It's not into no religious code per se. But everybody knows it's not cool. Everybody knows there's no glory in doing something with a certain intention, getting caught, and then telling on everybody else that was part of the same intention when we was all working in collusion. Like, everybody agrees. So that's a paradigm. A paradigm is a set of rules that are written and or unwritten that people make subscriptions to. So in a religious paradigm, yeah, money is evil, or the love of money is the root to all evil, and having cars and all this other stuff is supposed to be a bad thing. Then we get conscious, and we still have some of the religious paradigm filtering into our conscious stream, where now the same criteria is being asked of us as conscious brothers and sisters that was deemed necessary for the religious world. And it's like, nah, we're free of that. In this world, like, I deal with a lot of people who lead lifestyles that may be considered to be compromising, whether people strip or dance for a living, whether they're in the streets doing their thing, gangbang, whatever, right? But I don't mind being associated with them. And people be like, yo, your association with them is what got people questioning you. But in my world, I don't make subscriptions to the religious paradigm. So in my world, I accept the fact that all of us are move at different levels and different speeds. If I feel like I need to drive $300,000-$400,000 cars and own them, that's where I'm at in my stage of existence. And in my world, I have a saying where I say, if you don't burn out your desires will burn you out. I don't want to leave Earth in need or wanting some of the delicacies that Earth has to offer. So in my world, only reason I want to have it is so I can let it go. So some people are spiritual by default because they don't have resources or money. And so I always suggest that we have a responsibility to achieve material success. So when we achieve material success, we can be tempted so we can realize who and what we are. You know, give the man the right amount of money and see if he starts contributing to infidelity. Give him the right amount of money. See if he actually would take care of his own children. See if he would help homeless people. Give the woman the right amount of money. See if she speaks condescending to people or treat people bad. You know, there's nothing wrong with self-indulgence. But I would like to believe that there should be a point where you come to the realization that everything that you use en route to self-indulgence soon would dissipate as far as the desire is concerned. And you kind of transform inside out, and you realize how much more important it is to help other people. But that's a process that we call a long walk on a short path. That means it's not nobody's right to make a determination about how soon should I be done with the nice cars. How soon do I need to be over with holding the paper stacks? That's my own personal process. I've been abused too by this existence. My father left me at the age of 8. My mom died the week that I met her when I turned 17. I sacrificed a great deal of my youth between being incarcerated and being conscious. I never did what the people my generation or my age did. I was busy studying during that time. Now I'm in a space where I finally achieved a form of freedom that gives me spiritual freedom because I have financial freedom. And it's my divine right to exercise indulgence. Not for the purposes of indulging for the rest of my life, but so I can burn out my desires so my desires don't burn me out. Because when I leave planet Earth, I would like to say I'm without want. I don't need no more. And that's actually a place in contentment where I'm at. Now, other people can say they're content, but they don't necessarily know because they haven't achieved a certain level of material success to really know who they are. I'm telling you, having more money than you need creates opportunities where you may leave who you think you are and be at a place of no return. Okay? You'll find out who you are when you have resources galore. And it's a great temptation when you could eat as much as you want, drink as much as you want, party as much as you want, meet as much as people as you want to meet. That's a whole nother world. But if you play the world of religion, they'll have you hide from the opportunity like you're not good enough. Like people say this, the religious world, just like you was talking about, Sherry. People say, why you got your women dressing like that? You shouldn't let them dress like that. I'm like, excuse me? the females don't have a say over what they should wear? You think I'm just going to sit here and tell, you think I dictate to the women exactly what they need to? I can give my opinion, granted, especially if I'm in a relationship, but the way people talk, the presumption is like the women have no say. I'm manipulating them. I'm making them dress that way. No, I like when they wear form-fitting clothes, my wives, because I want to look at them. A lot of men don't even let you know they're in a relationship with somebody online for obvious reasons. When I post it, oh, why you gotta let everybody know who you with? I'm like, because I'm proud of the person that I'm with. This is crazy. Why is she dressed like that? Don't you know other men gonna look? Men that have sex with crackheads. That's how savage they are. Like, and know the woman's a crackhead. Like, that's just what we dealing with on planet Earth. My intention isn't to entice other men. My intention is to engage my wife sensually and sexually and to let her know I appreciate her on metaphysical and physical levels. Like, that's just my business. But I'm not going to concern myself with the carnal seat and nature of other men, because that would denote a level of insecurity in myself. And it will also speak to a greater narrative of what I think about women if I feel that a woman can't wear form-fitting clothes and be trusted because she's in a relationship with me. So that's all from that. Like, the undertone is strictly and purely religious. We get these ideas of not trusting the opposite sex and looking at sex like a bad thing from religion. Just like if I get upset with somebody, I might call him a pussy. I might call him a dickhead. I might call him an asshole. We always go into like genitalia or sexual or private parts, right? And so religion has made us ashamed of sex when it should be the complete opposite. It shouldn't be frowned upon. It should be celebrated, and it should be acknowledged as one of our most divine opportunities to demonstrate our ability as far as Godship is concerned on a microscopic level. But you'll find that we'll call each other names that are associated with our genitalia or private parts, because obviously we must be ashamed of those body parts. And even like men, when we go to the bathroom, and sisters too, we wash our hands after we use the bathroom. We don't wash our hands before we use the bathroom. And the reason why that's important is, what do you think of your private parts? That you're willing to touch the whole world, use the bathroom, touch yourself, and then say, since I touched my private part, now let me wash my hands. You've been exposed to everything before you touch your private part. You should wash your hands first, then touch your private parts to use the bathroom, then wash your hands again. But we will go straight to the bathroom, touch our private parts with no regard to the fact we've had access to the whole world. And then our private parts are so bad, so nasty, so disgusting. Yo, let me wash my hands after I've touched it. But let me not wash my hands before I touch it, because clearly the private part is way more dirtier than everything that I have had access to the whole day. So it tells you what we think of ourselves sexually and what we think of sex in general. Like, it's crazy. It's layers to this. So yes, sister, we definitely have made a religion out of consciousness. And when we find that we're still making those type of subscriptions, we have to get ourselves out of there. I'm not talking to people about being lawless. I'm talking to people about being realistic. And what I mean by being realistic is, hey, accept the fact that you can move at your own pace. And just because you may label yourself woke or you may label yourself conscious doesn't mean you have to move any faster or slower than anybody else. It doesn't mean you have to achieve what they have achieved in whatever span of time they've achieved. If you decide to start going vegan, cool. You decide to start homeschooling your child, cool. You do what you can with what you have available to you. And if somebody judges you and say, yo, why you still going to the club and you supposed to be conscious? Or why you dressing like that? You supposed to be conscious. That's religion. Because you don't have to move at any person's pace. Just because they may have accomplished something that was necessary for them, they may need to refrain from going to the clubs because they probably undisciplined, can't be trusted, and out of damn control. You probably shouldn't go to clubs. That don't apply to me. I could go to clubs and not lose myself. That don't apply to me. And maybe I might outgrow going to clubs at some point or the other, but it doesn't make me any less conscious than you are because you're on the path and you have refrained from going to clubs. We move at our own pace because you may not go to clubs, but you may also eat meat. I may be vegan, but I choose to go to clubs. Like somebody else may be drinking alcohol, somebody else may be smoking weed. It's nobody's right to castigate somebody for their process. We got the right to move at our own speed. And when you start imposing your will on other people and making judgments on people because of what they do, that's how you know that's religion. And not only is it religion, to be religious is to be very hypocritical. And it's not fair to people's process. Because what we should do when we find things in common with each other, because we realize that we're conscious, we should celebrate each other's consciousness and we should see what level each other is on and find strength in the parts of other people's process that we've yet to obtain, rather than looking for people's inconsistencies. Because when we look for other people's inconsistencies, we're actually revealing our insecurities. And that's what religion has done for us. Real talk.
That was a whole word.
Powerful. I'm so glad you're here.
Thanks,
That was
sister.
powerful.
Thank you so much. Let's see who's out there. I did tell. Oh, thank you. I actually need that. Now I understand why you did that. Thank you. Okay, this is perfect. So I can stop with the shaky hand syndrome. Boom. Okay. So we're going to go to, let's see, Joanna Hendrickson. We lit.
Yes, good evening.
How you doing, sister?
I think the things are so divine because what's so ironic is that one commonality that I found in this whole conversation is that no matter what questions are being asked or what opinions are being made, it all a lot of times reverts back to, I think, how we feel about self. Because a prime example is like with the gentleman, Mr. Sincere, when he asked, who are we to think of ourselves on a divine level or to wonder why certain things are happening to us or why we're experiencing certain things. A lot of times trauma, and I heard you speak on it before, Brother Polight, how a lot of trauma is ingrained and can be passed on genetically, and if it's unhealed, it becomes a repetitive cycle unless someone breaks it.
Yes.
And one thing I've always heard, and it's a common saying here, is that you're never fully attacked unless there's something great inside of you. It doesn't, when bad things happen, it's not necessarily because you've done something to someone else or this is your karma coming back around because of a mistake or a decision that you've made. A lot of times, people are breaking down others or seek to destroy others or even simply instill doubt into a powerful person's mind because they fear what they don't understand.
Real talk.
But look at what's happening here is that we're all from different parts of the globe, and yet we have different opinions and different opinions that we form, but we all there's still some commonality in what we're saying because we all can relate. And it's ironic how we're all different, but we have similarities that we either never speak on because we're not taught to. And a lot of people are not taught to question. A lot of people are simply taught from young to, be quiet unless you're given permission to say something or, don't speak unless you're addressed. But it's just like, if I don't question anything, I don't know. And say, for growing up in a religion, I used to be Jehovah's Witness. And that was one religion to me that I found was very hypocritical because whereas they have been there to always kind of try to push on and instill their opinions and their beliefs and stuff onto other people. But the moment anybody came to try to have an honest discussion, it was shut down immediately because it wasn't something that they believed in. I'm just like, well, how does that work? Education is a two-way street as far as I'm concerned. You ask questions to get answers, which then in turn create more questions. So why aren't we encouraged to do this more often? And anyone who speaks up is automatically deemed as a troublemaker or someone who's trying to break away from the norm. And it's so funny how you spoke on, I love the term paradigm because like you said, with snitches and all that other stuff, a lot of people depend a lot on paradigms. And I think they simply don't, because it's not something that's talked about a lot, they don't understand how often they do it. Because if something is unspoken, it's just like, how if you're told as young, what happens in this house stays in this house, but it's just like, where is that written? Yes. And if it's bad stuff that's happening, if I don't speak on it, it doesn't change. So it's just like, well,
but like, how do you fix something that can't be discussed? You know what I mean? So I love platforms like this because it's very powerful, and I think a lot of people who feel alone in their opinions and their ideas will find that they have a lot more in common with people outside of their comfort zone if they simply just open themselves up. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean. Powerful.
I just think. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, sister. Who's that speaking?
Oh, it was me. I was just about to say, I just think the powers that be got us programmed really good.
Adriana, go ahead. Keep going, Adriana.
Yeah, that's really all I want to say. I mean, I feel like there was a plan from the beginning to make everybody so confused, cause all this confusion, especially amongst our people.
Yep, I agree 100%.
Yeah, they pretty much succeeded with that.
I mean, for you to control a mass, you got to program it. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Because what they say is strength in numbers, right? There's not strength in division. There's strength in numbers. So if you are constantly able to bring together people for differences, I mean, that seem unrelatable at first, but yet you're able to do it, and someone told you that you can't do it. You can't tell me that that's power. Because, I mean, it seems easy to create divide someone because of the differences, but you can't bring people together. And I'm just like, yeah, not everyone can do that because it takes a powerful person, but you have to believe and be okay with what
you are.
Yep.
The main issue is, due to religion, everybody's scared to die. Nobody wants to go to hell. So you know what niggas gonna do? Niggas gonna conform. And you know what I mean? And niggas not gonna fight. Niggas not gonna go to war for what they want. They want to sit back and pray and hope that they make it to heaven.
I agree with you. I agree. Hey, let me get Brother Sean on here. Sean Stacks. Keep this thing going. Then I got to get Donald Raven Jr. I'm on it, y'all. I'm on it. Let's get some of these brothers on. We had a lot of sisters building, which is great. Continue to build. Let's get the brother Sean Stacks in there. He's in my courses galore, making tons of money. His mom's makes money. His father makes money. He makes money. We talking in the tens of thousands. Go to brotherpolight.com. I'm glad that you...
That's a fact. That's a fact.
Glad you found me on Clubhouse, man. What's up? This is our first time.
Oh, yeah. What's going on, P?
I'm chilling, King. Good to hear your voice, my good brother.
Likewise.
What's on your mind? What's on your mind? How you want to build or what you want to add on?
I have an issue with the concept of faith in general.
Okay.
I think it's... I think faith is like a cop-out. To ignore common sense, reason, logic, being questioned, all while believing in fairy tales without having proof or evidence to validate their claims and beliefs.
Man,
so I just wanted to ask anyone who subscribes to any religion solely based off faith to explain how they feel comfortable or content in believing in something with no proof or evidence to back it up.
Hey, if you are out there in the audience, you can raise your hand and I will call on you so you can connect with the brother Sean. I agree with the brother Sean. And I mean, we normally talk about the money, so this is a different venue. And I'm happy that we can have this build because clearly we on the same page. So, I mean, that's how we connected regardless. I love it. And so if you can put your hands up in the chat and then I'll look for the person whose new hand is up there. If you want to address your ability to believe in that which you don't know. We'll really use the word faith because we know in a connotative sense what it means it represents to religion. Because we all deal with a certain level of belief. If I buy a book, I got to believe it has something in there for me. If I go to the supermarket, I got to believe that they might have the ingredients I'm looking for. But we understand what belief a person could believe and still be 100% wrong. So when we're talking about our so-called spirit, our so-called soul, I would like to believe that is so important and so serious that we can't just be taking anybody's word for it. And that's what faith does. The faith that they taught us about is, hey, just get it in where you can get it in, what you don't understand, figure it out later. But hey, save yourself. Like Son said earlier, cats don't want to fight for their freedom. They don't want to do no revolution. They just want to believe. And like I said earlier, our people lazy. So they'll believe so long as they ain't got to do no research. And so I have a level of faith in my friends, but that's faith based on facts. So if I have one person that's never been there for me my whole life, and I got another person that is always there for me every time I need them, I got faith based on facts that they'll be there for me. Does it mean I'll be right? No, because it's still a level of the unknown. But at least my faith would be based on facts. When we dealing with religion, it's not based on no facts. It's just faith based on faith. You know what I'm saying? It's right. Belief just based on belief. It's belief on top of belief on top of belief on top of belief. And when we respectfully disagree with our brothers and sisters, the part that doesn't register is the fact that we haven't crossed the threshold to believe yet because we haven't been given enough facts. So they'll say things under the presumption that we already believe. And that's what's always causing the disturbance in the conversation. So, like, for instance, a person will say, I'll disagree with religion, and they'll be like, but remember what Jesus said. And I'm like, yo, fam, we didn't even establish if he's real. And you're already referencing him as though I agree with that part. Or remember in the Garden of Eden, I'm like, yo, what do you mean remember, fam? This is nothing to remember. I don't even recall this to be true. I know Malcolm X existed. I know Marcus Garvey existed. Get me to the point where we could establish that these people existed in the first place, and then let's start talking about the narratives. So a lot of times, it's hard for people to even fathom how people don't just believe just to believe. They forgot themselves that there was no proof given to them before they started to believe. And then they were taught that they're special because they was able to take information that has no credibility, no factual pretense. They've convinced themselves that, hey, this is true regardless. You know what I'm saying?
And the crazy part is they're not even allowed to question it. Like, I was told it's a sin even in it, so they pretty much have to believe it.
Religious instruction is what they call it. You know what I'm saying? So let me see if I got anybody new hands up. I see some new hands up. I'm going to look for someone who maybe have a religious name or something. Let's see. Who's new here? I ain't see Nolan McGruger. Oh, let's see if Chavez. Radhika or Radhika Chavez. Let's see what you got to say. You're on, Chavez. What's on your mind?
Hey, can you just do a little backtrack and tell me, because I just joined?
Yes.
Can you just do a little backtrack and tell me what the exact topic is?
Okay, well, what we're talking about is our people blindly believing in God and our right to not believe in God without being condemned. And there's a general consensus here thus far that we haven't been given enough reason to believe in any of the different presentations by various different religions that such a God exists. And then ultimately, my conclusion, which I believe many concur with, is that if there actually is a God, that God wouldn't mind if we didn't believe in God while on planet Earth, and would probably even revere us as his greatest children for not believing, because all the hypocrisy, the inconsistencies, and the lack of evidence would suggest that we don't have no reason to believe based on what man has presented. Yet and still, if we live prosperous lives, add value to other people, and have high intentions to be great despite our errors as humans, we would still be embraced by a creator should one exist. And so the conflict is the religious world believes otherwise. And we say, or we contend, that they believe just to believe. They believe just in case. They believe at least they could go to heaven. Despite there being tens of thousands of religions, most people would like to believe they're 1 out of 10,000 that got it right amongst all those different religions. And it's just a lottery at this particular point in time. So what is your stance on God? Do you subscribe to any religion in particular? Do you have faith Do you consider your faith blind faith? Has Jesus spoken to you and woke you up and got you conscious? Where you at with it?
Yeah, thank you so much. I grew up in a house where we only went to church for Easter and Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, I started questioning all of the beliefs in terms of religion. And then I started studying other religions. And then, currently right now, I do believe that there is God, the source. I call him the source.
Okay.
Her. Actually, it's her. Actually, I believe the source is her because the source procreates, and the female energy is the one that procreates. Male energy.
I'm with that.
And
That's an oxymoron. You know that, right?
Uh-oh.
yeah, I know.
Hold on,
And
sister. Real quick, sister. Why would you say that's an oxymoron, brother? Why wouldn't God be a woman?
Nah, she's saying that the female procreates, but I feel like you gotta have the female and the yin and the yang to procreate. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I think she's talking about nature. I mean, Mother Nature. Why do they call it Mother Nature? I mean, who gives birth? Women. I don't think a man gives birth. But I know, of course, what you're saying from like a male perspective, like, yeah, that there has to be something that plants the seed, right?
And also, if I may add that the name of the earth for spiritual people or for other people, the name of the earth is called Gaia, and they always refer to Gaia as Mother Nature, the female part of it. But anyway, besides that, when it comes to religion, my mom and I always go back and forth in this. She doesn't kind of condemns me. You know, my belief is religion is man-made.
Yes.
And when I think about all of the different, I only want to talk about Christianity at this point because I don't want to go into Buddhism and Islam and the other ones.
We was touching on those things earlier. No problem.
When it comes to Christianity, there are so many different denominations. Okay? And when they don't agree with each other, they separate and form another denomination. So, for example, I was baptized Greek Orthodox, but the Orthodox Church and the Catholic Church were united at one point until they disagreed. And then they separated. And then here we have all of the different versions of the Bible. Okay? And, I'm going to be 49 next week. And when I think about all the different versions of the Bible, I think about how they don't agree with one another.
That's right.
I forgot which denomination is it. Is it Episcopalian? I'm not sure. The ones where their version of the Bible are anti-gay. If you're gay, you're a sinner, blah, blah, blah. I forgot which denomination that is. And then we have the King James Version, which is actually the most popular version of the Bible that's, read throughout. I would have to say America and England. I'm not sure about the other countries.
Yeah.
But what I also learned was that there's so much information that has been taken out and hidden by the Vatican because they do not want us to know the truth.
This is true.
So when I speak about that I am spiritual and not religious, it's because I will not allow myself to be indoctrinated by a particular denomination, and I have to follow you.
That's right.
I am like the oh gosh, I get this wrong all the time. Is it the 5%ers?
Maybe.
Or 5th percenters? I think it's the 5%ers,
5%,
right?
Nation of the Gods and Earth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe that God is within me because we have the essence of God within us. Mm-hmm. And we are all powerful. And this is where the laws of the universal laws come into play.
Yes.
Right? We have the ability to create the law of attraction and the law of abundance and, the other laws, like, this gentleman was saying earlier with the yin and yang. we have that opportunity. We have those powers, but unfortunately, and excuse me if I'm going off on a conspiracy sort of thing, when we learn about the truth and we wake up and we learn about like the reptilians who are experts at genetics, and they're controlling the people who are in power right now, and the people who are in power right now are hungry for money, greed, power, and unfortunately those poor little children to take their blood, because that adrenochrome makes the reptilians high and they enjoy that. But anyway, besides that,
she took it there.
She took it there. Keep going, sister. Keep going.
You know, I have two boys that are entering middle school, like I should say, and I teach them the truth. And I'm like this, and that. I let them watch videos with me about the truth because I do not want my children to be indoctrinated. So when it comes to religion, I do not believe in any religion because religion is only about holding us down and not allowing us as human beings to understand and to achieve the, how can I say it, the level of what we can do as human beings. So when it comes to the negative entities, the ETs, they want to control us. And they envy the human species, the human race, okay? Because the only race that I consider is the human race. I don't care if we were black, purple, blue, or green. We are all a human race. We all bleed the same. We're made up of the same things inside. And let me think about this for a second. They envy us because the number one thing that the human race has is the power of emotions. We are emotional beings. And even if you are a salesperson, how do people make decisions when they buy something? It's because of their emotions. And I've done sales before, so that's why I'm bringing this in as well. And I don't know what else to say. I mean, that's kind of like basically it. I don't believe in any religion whatsoever. I believe that God is within me, and as long as I help other people to achieve their potential, as long as I help other people with whatever they're dealing with, because I consider myself an indigo, and just to go off on a tangent, I've been involved in a lot of network marketing companies, and I haven't changed my Instagram, but being involved in network marketing companies did not make me happy. And as a human, the most important thing is to do what makes you happy the most. Because when you're happy doing what you're doing, that is when you can achieve the full potential of your inner being. And when it comes to making money, when you're happy what you're doing, that's when you will become financially free. So when it comes to law of attraction, like, for example, Bob Proctor, right? All of these people that teach the law of attraction and you buy their courses, which I also fell into, they don't teach. I learned secrets this year. They don't teach the true nature of the law of attraction. They tell you, oh, think positive, you can do it, you have the power. Yes, we do have the power. But what they did not teach you is what I learned this year is that power comes from your heart chakra. And it has to do with love. So when you can connect with your heart chakra and with the love that you need to emanate and to give to other people, that is when that law of attraction will come to you and you can manifest anything. I'm sorry, I went off on a tangent, but
no, it's all good. So
that was really good.
It's powerful. And what I would like to say, just to add on, not to compromise the integrity of your message, whether we would like to call them ETs, extraterrestrials, and this is also for other people to connect with the information, because sometimes people hear words and it becomes such a distraction in their mind that they may not get the overall point. So for those of you that believe in God, God would have to be an extraterrestrial, because extraterrestrial, extra is an additional, as an additional amount. Terra, Latin for earth, astral coming from the stars. So anything that has a presence on earth that comes from the stars that is additional to this existence would be extraterrestrial or extraterrestrial. So God would have to be an extraterrestrial. So those of you that may not be religious but believe in God, you confide in extraterrestrials. If you believe in angels, you believe in aliens. You know, I would reference entities that are in support of me as our ancestors, and that would have an extraterrestrial connotation. So, you know, sometimes when we listening to people, we should look for word associations or euphemisms so we don't get lost in the sauce and we can continue to keep up with the build, because sometimes one word can take us away from the build and we can miss the information we need. And then what I will say is this: we are different species, though I totally understand what you mean by the human race, because, you know, sometimes we might say it's not a black or white thing, it's a gray thing. And if you know, you know. I'm not even going to go into that information. If you know, you know. It's not a black or white thing, it's a gray thing. So in that regard, I could say, yeah, we're a human race. But there is a level of ambiguity or contrast, because, I mean, hey, some Asians get mongoloidism or Down syndrome. They have 47 chromosomes. That's wild if we understand science. We're supposed to have 46. Where does the 47th one come from? All right. And so there's diseases that are exclusive to different genotypes or to different races, like sickle cell anemia. So we don't exactly bleed the same blood, but I totally understand what is meant by one race, the human race. I get the concept, I get the understanding, so I'm not against it, because in some conversations and in some scenarios, it is a matter of simply human race. And if that's a person's perspective, that's a person, that's a child of light or indigo, as you may say, that just you permeate love and you see beyond the physical. So I totally get it. So I'm not in opposition to the concept of one race, the human race. And then there's the social political aspect. And then there's also another clause where the creators or the entities responsible for black people's inception are not the same entities responsible for white people's inception. And then we have to ask, are those entities in conflict with each other? And in this conversation I'm having is multi-layered. I can kick it to you guys on a regular social scale, or I could take it there as well. I'm doing my best just to be fair and partial, kick it to the medium and not deviate from what we're supposed to talk about, because, you know, it's just to open up Pandora's box. But what I want to do is just connect enough dots so some people that may not be in the know, maybe they can start finding their way en route to some of the information that the sister's talking about, and also to make sure they don't alienate or ostracize her, but understand and connect, because that's the goal. The goal is to make connections, you know. And also, like I said, euphemistically speaking, we may say one thing, but it's really just a matter of word associations where we're pretty much talking about the same thing, right? Just one may have more of a religious connotation, another might have more of a scientific connotation, another one might have more of a metaphysical connotation. But if we're truly intelligent, we can make those word associations and not get lost in the point that the sister's making, because she made a lot of valid points, very prominent points that actually agree with everything that we've been saying this whole time. And so I just wanted to make those parts clear for understanding purposes, because I got this on Facebook too. So I was reading the comments on Facebook while you're talking, so I'm addressing some of what I see on Facebook. But overall, the people say you did a great job, and I thank you for your contribution. I'm going to allow somebody else to speak whose hand is there, but you can stay on, sister, and when you feel the suffice to add on, definitely do. But definitely without being ethnocentric, the reality is there's a plethora of things that make us distinct, and those things that make us distinct as a people makes us special. And a lot of entities on planet Earth out of insecurity or for the lack of their own ability to do so on biological levels, are raping our genetics because they're depleted of those resources themselves. Hence the reason why they don't want us to keep our placentas. When our children are birthed in their hospitals, you have to go through all sorts of hell to keep the afterbirth. They make what's called black synthetic matter, which is BSM, which is a form of melanin, lab-created melanin, because nothing can leave the planet Earth without it being coated by melanin, because there's a Van Allen's belt, a layer of plasma that has set anything on fire as anything interpenetrates it, or what they call the cherubim plane, or the Van Allen's belt, one and the same. And so satellites, ships, everything has to be coated with some form of melanin. So when you look at the human beings that have the most melanin, you tend to ask, like, are we really more star people than we are earthly? We might be more astral. And is our body a ship, figuratively speaking, or technically? Because if they have to coat mechanisms with some form of melanin, scientifically or lab-created melanin, then goddamn, we're designed more astrally than we are designed earthly in some respects. So, but at the same rate, some people are having a problem living under the sun, and the sun makes up 99% of our solar system. And so if you're having a problem living under the sun and other people aren't, that may cause a level of insecurity or jealousy. So as much as we sensible people are willing to live and accept that, there's only one race, the human race, because we are filled with love and we don't trip over the things that makes us different. There's the socio-political element of things that makes forces of evil indulge in the insecurities and consumed by luster and anger that would make them want to rape our race of the genetic resources that we have available in the form of our placentas, in the form of our blood, like Henrietta Lacks, the oldest woman on planet Earth, because they've been reproducing her cells to heal non-black people for years. We're truly special, so special that is hidden, whether it's the Tuskegee experiments that took place where they can see how we respond if they put diseases in us on purpose. They've always been fascinated, whether it was sickle cell anemia, an adaptive disorder, because sickle cell anemia is simultaneously a disease and the cure for malaria that black people's body created. So it eliminated Native Americans, it eliminated Europeans. But what our body did was turn our red blood cells into crescent shapes or sickle shapes, deprive the cells of more than 40% of the oxygen so the parasite wouldn't be able to thrive in the human body. We would look like we passed out or damn near died. And then in turn, we would be revived and the white man would think we were zombies because our body created a cure for malaria that they call sickle cell anemia. And that was because climatically we were displaced because we were kidnapped from equatorial dispositions that we lived at, where the sun plays a more integral role the more you closer to the equator, and then they bring us over here to America into this cold weather, and we became vulnerable and susceptible to catching a cold because we were somewhere where we could only catch a hot. So there was no colds to be caught. And we were affected differently from the paler skinned beings that lived on this side of the planet that was embarking upon colonialism and kidnapping. And so they've always been interested in us, even in our ability, our high fertile ability, our ability to procreate, despite the 50-cent sodas, despite the pork fried rice and 2 chicken wings with the hot sauce, ketchup, barbecue sauce, and the soy sauce and the duck sauce. With all the garbage that they've been feeding us for years, we still cannot be stopped when it comes to procreating, despite all the Plan B alternatives and clinics that's in our communities and no clinics in other communities. We still are reproducing at alarming rates. And so, yeah, as much as I would just love to live in a world where it's only the human race, the truth of the matter is there are some things about black people that still have not yet been defined to the general public, that if people really took the time out to understand who and what true Nubian or children of the sun or Melanite beings are, you know, we will come to terms that black people are actually the aliens or the extraterrestrials. But I'll leave it like that. That'd be for another conversation for another day. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't want them shutting down my Facebook or leaving me messages like they always do. This message is against community guidelines. I just got 2 of those today. And they just be having bills just like this. I swear. But it's because so many of the messages go viral and it hits millions of people that it's like, you know, when I show people the nice...
getting out.
Yeah, when I show people the pictures of the cars and the women and the money, as my commercial breaks and intermissions, people really don't understand. I have to spread it out, otherwise I won't have no page. So when they say, oh man, ever since you got the money, brother, you've been deviating. No, I get messages that tell me take it easy. Or my page will be gone. So I'm going to take it easy right now. But I'm going to move forward. Let me get somebody else on here.
And then, wait, can I just add one more thing? And
Go
after
ahead.
I speak, I really want you to move me back to the audience because of what I have to say right now, okay?
Do your thing. I'm with it. Go ahead, sister.
All right. Sunday night, what's today? Tuesday? Okay, not this Sunday, last Sunday. I was in a room on Clubhouse and I was speaking. The room shut down. I went to another room and I started speaking. The room shut down. Okay? I joined the room, I think earlier today, and I'm grateful that you are the only moderator at this point. I joined another room today earlier. As soon as I got accepted to speak, this was the GABA gang one. Over 100 people were in it, I believe. Room shut down. I feel like I'm being targeted, and I can't talk about it, but I know that they are listening to me, and they don't want me to speak. So, if your room shuts down, please know that I am a friendly, but they're trying to shut me up. So, that's what I want to say. Yeah, that's what I want to say. I'm not an enemy. I'm a friendly. I only have love and light in my heart, and I just really want to help people, you know, and I feel like for the past week plus, every time I want to say what I have to say from my heart, that they're trying to shut me up. You know, they're trying to shut up the truth, and it hurts me so much. And just today, I got a 30-day FB ban on my page because I'm speaking the truth on my page, you know?
I totally get it, sister. Trust me. And, you know, in my world, I want you to stay on. You don't have to go into population. Stay on. You can leave it on mute. But, you know, I want you to understand it's not just you. So that's why this forum is here. So you can know it's not just you. Because on the real, you know, I just did something the other day. I got a video on my Instagram, my last video that I did, where I'm petitioning to the people because it annoys me. You know, because they set this thing up. This thing is all illusion. So they got my people thinking that I only want to post money and women and cars. That's part of my lifestyle. So I could post the truth just like somebody else. If you got a Toyota and you post a picture of you and your child with the Toyota, ain't nobody mad. But because I drive a Rolls Royce, my people get mad at me and say, yo, you shouldn't do that. But ultimately what they don't understand is when I post videos about vaccinations, I get a message saying that this is against community guidelines. When I post messages about what makes us special, I get messages told that this is harmful. But then I look and I say, yo, these guys are rapping about killing other black people. And this is just nonstop. They got like 20 videos in a row showing guns and everything. And that's not against community guidelines. I talk about epigenome. You know, I talk about parthenogenesis, the ability for women to be able to procreate without a male. And I talk about this in concept, right? And yo, you know, one more of these and your page will be taken out. Sometimes I can't write captions. Sometimes people can't share my videos. And so I know how stressful that could be when you want to share information or just connect with other people because we're not next to people are not readily available around us that vibrate on this frequency. So normally these platforms is the only platforms we have where we could talk to people of liking spirit and mentality and consciousness where we can say, huh, because a lot of times I do this for my own sanity. When I do these live streams, I be doing these live streams also for my sanity. It don't be just to also promote consciousness in other people. It be for me to perpetuate these things within myself and to realize that other people is on the same type of time. So I definitely don't want you to leave, sister. I want you to stay locked. I want you to stay in tune with us, you know, and know that you're not the only one. And guess what? In the position that I'm in is like, so, okay, I get the warning. Don't do this. Okay, I get another warning. We're going to shut your page down. I get another warning. So then guess what? So then I post alternative things, and then my people turn on me and be like, yo, that's all you want to post. But then I got to be conscious enough not to just go crazy and say, you know what? This social media platform is doing this and this one's doing that. Because then that'll get me taken away. And then it's going to defeat the whole opportunity of me being able to share when I can share. So the illusion is so ill that my people will really be sitting here and not even question themselves like, yo, we know Polight got the knowledge. So Polight is posting alternative things that's also part of my lifestyle. You just got to be patient so I can spread it out, because when I go in, like even this level of censorship here, that's why I always tell people go to brotherpolight.com, get my classes over there so we can do what we got to do, because there's a level of censorship. I got to be careful.
What's the website?
Oh, brotherpolight.com. Brother, Polight. P-O, light, like light bulb. It's spelled differently. So Polight, Polight, brotherpolight.com. And so I gotta be like, even when I'm building and I'm talking about word associations and euphemisms, I gotta do a whole goddamn tap dance just to make sure that certain key words don't get said, because they got what's called the Internet of Things, IT. So if you just say certain key words, it goes into their system and they know how to get you. If I say certain keywords, there's advertisements that'll come up that's associated with the keywords that I use so they can target a certain audience, right? Just like marketing you was talking about. So using that same technology, if I say certain keywords, like the word vaccine, boom. Okay, you'll see some COVID notifications or some shit come up, right? But if I mention some other things, like let's say nanotechnology, then they'll say, okay, he said the word vaccines, he said the word nanotechnology, and we get 2 or 3 more of these words together, we're going to lock in and see what he's talking about, and then we're going to lock him out of his account. So I have to speak in codes, know not to use certain words in particular, talk to people about euphemisms and word associations and phraseologies, and I have to hope that people are walking with me and understand that we're living in a day and time where you can't even reveal how in tune you are with the information, because they got us under pressure. And
there's a woman I listen to on YouTube. She one person calls it the Maxine, like the name of a female, and the other person calls it the Jezebel juice.
We got to do it like that. We have to do it like that, because when you talk about the real issues, they're out there to censor anybody who's talking about the real issues. And then you got these goofy people, right? When we talking about that juice, you got people that'll sit here and report you because they mad that you're not insisting that everybody else get the juice. It's crazy. So
yo, that's a fact. I had a song I was trying to do the paid promotion on Instagram, and they said that it went against community guidelines. And then that same day, I seen a random ad of a video, and this nigga was talking about bodying niggas, Dracos. So how does that not go against the guidelines? But I was speaking about just police brutality, like, you know, things that is like.
What I'm talking about, irony, right? Because this is exactly what I said. Sean and Radhika, 2 people that came in after the initial conversation. And this is exactly what I'm saying. The irony of it all is that there is such an attack on confidence and worthy and knowing your worth of self that people will constantly attack you on the most menial things or distract you with the most menial things. I was talking about popsicles with my 6-year-old godson, and all of a sudden I'm getting an advert about popsicles. I'm like, I don't want the popsicles here, but because, you know, I'm sitting here researching about different religions or different opinions and stuff, because like I said, I spent a great deal of my childhood in a religion that once I got to a certain age I've always been one that dealt for myself, but it kept conflicting with my spirit. I'm like, okay, something is not right about what they are trying to teach us, because it's triggering something in me that says, hold on, you're contradicting yourself in every step. But when I question it, I'm wrong or I'm argumentative. No, I'm questioning it because it doesn't make sense. And you fight me on it because you don't have the answer.
That's right.
And when I'm trying to seek it for myself, it's a problem. Like, I'm like, it's a sick world that we live in. And I'm just like, you cannot continue to question powerful or assertive people because that is how you incorporate change. And people don't like change. We all know that people don't like growth. People don't like change. People don't like people to mix things up. But how do you think things that people evolve? How do you think that they grow? They don't grow. They don't grow if they stay the same.
That's right.
Like, you know what I mean? And like I said, there's division, there's weakness in division, and there's greatness in numbers. So why do you think they're trying to control the masses if they don't see a purpose-driven greatness that they possess?
That's right.
Right. And I just want to share with you one more thing before I shut the hell up. I just want to share a website with you that has books and papers and information, news clippings from the 1800s and early 1900s to like 1970s and whatnot, which I think some of you will find as a great resource. It's called the rabbithole.wiki. And you can read all of this stuff online. You can't download it, unfortunately, but it's called the rabbithole.wiki. And there's so much information there, including aliens and Gilgamesh and communism and all of this stuff, you know?
Got you.
So I'm going to shut up now.
It's all good. Thank you. Just stay on the path and know you're not alone, sister. You're good. You're appreciated in this room. You always have an opportunity to speak here, you know, because we're not here to tear nobody down. We're here to build and use everybody as a resource to get to our ultimate goal of streaming consciousness, like the way we live stream on Facebook. We want to stream consciousness in such a way that it's easier to upload and download data amongst the network of conscious people that represent a collective as a mind. You dig what I'm saying? So let me get this brother that I said I was going to get him. Hold on real quick. Donald Raven Jr., let's get you. See, you had your hand up for the longest. Sorry for the wait, my good brother. But you see how we get in the building. So if you're there, you can start building right now and let us know what's on your mind.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, all right. Yeah, I was studying, started playing video games. I was like, oh, man, I ain't never going to get picked on this. I love the fact that the topic kind of deviated into what it did. But to really get an establishment of what we're talking about and religion and everything like that, my standing point, I am a Christian.
Okay.
The only reason I say that is because I grew up as a Christian. I studied more of Christianity and the Holy Bible and stuff. I was baptized as a Catholic. I hung out with Muslims. They tried to convert me into Muslim, to being Muslim. Assalamu alaikum, Islam, all that good stuff. I chilled out with a lot of 5%ers. I chilled out with a lot of God bodies. So I got an open mind. You know what I'm saying? I kind of got a view on different points of what we're talking about. And I feel like Jesus Christ was a person. I feel like he was again. I think his name was Jesus. I definitely don't believe he looked the way he looks as those images they have on him in churches and stuff like that. I do believe he learned a lot from Egypt, and everything he learned came from Egypt. And the miracles he performed, he learned from Egypt. To try to preach it in subliminal ways because they wouldn't allow him to kind of preach it the way it's supposed to be. But I also feel like a lot of it, everything is connected somehow. You know what I'm saying? And if you read the Bible and then you go into the conspiracy theories and everything like that, you kind of see what was going on. You know what I'm saying? You see what they took out. Because if you read the Bible, you got to read the Apocrypha, right? You won't get them books that they didn't add in the regular Bible, but they did add it into the Apocrypha, like the Book of Eli and all that good stuff, right? So if you get it, like the Bible kind of says, you be careful with what you eat, meditate or fast, whatever the case may be, and like holistic mathematics. Right? You're supposed to eat certain things in order to develop in a certain way. You know what I'm saying? So I don't dismiss the Bible. I don't completely follow it. Right now I'm studying Zen. I got a Zen master and everything, studying meditation and all that. So yeah, that's my take to I don't want to take up too much time on this time. I was kind of late.
No problem, brother. Some of your message was a bit compromised because it's staticky, but I do understand that you are a Christian, but you're open-minded, and that's good. You know, keep that open mind, keep connecting with people with different dispositions, different faiths, different knowledge, and I know you'll come to terms ultimately with what's best for you and your raising of consciousness. That's what I could definitely say to you. Maybe on another occasion when we get you, it'd be even more clearer and we could build. I just want to see if I could reach out to maybe one or two more people that had their hands up for the longest. Let me get this, Quay CK. Put yours on mute real quick, my brother. Okay, Quay CK, you in here? You there?
Yo, peace. It's a brother from the...
Where you from? Hello?
Yeah, can you hear me, brother?
I can hear you now. Where you from?
From the UK.
Okay, peace to you. Peace.
Yeah, first of all, I just want to say that this is an honor just to be able to speak to you, Brother Polight. I've been following Signet TV for like a couple of years now, and every time I was on that channel and I heard you speak, I was just always impressed by some of the topics that you spoke about, and the way the ability to articulate yourself was always brilliant to me, regardless of any other subject, even if I disagreed. So I was always appreciative to listen to what you had to say.
Thank you.
As far as regards to the topic, especially when you talk about relationships and some of the social issues, I definitely think that you raise valid points about the community tends to focus too much on the religious side, and we kind of need to take our religious hats off and focus on the issues, the social issues right in front of us. So I definitely really appreciate that, because that was a strong influence on me to kind of raise those type of conversations to even my brothers and sisters. As far as the topic, as far as religion, I'm actually a person who's into Islamic mysticism, and I just wanted to raise this point. So some Islamic philosophers who I think that they took these points from the Sufis, so because I'm kind of into the Sufistic, in Arabic is the Tasawwuf, Sufi path. And so some of the Islamic philosophers, what they would say was that when the Quran talks about heaven and hell, these are not necessarily physical places, and that these are more like mental states of mind. And one of the points that they were making was that if the Prophet Muhammad came and he was to preach a spiritual reward, then probably people would not take him seriously, because the average layman is probably motivated by physical rewards. So that message would not actually reach the hearts of people if he was to teach them that that these heaven and hell was just spiritual rewards, meaning that religions are there to kind of teach people to be morally upright, and that actually is the reward, that you are actually a morally upright person. And I feel like what they're saying is that if the Prophet Muhammad came and taught that, people would just not pay attention to him. So that's for the reason why that some of these verses, they talk about heaven and hell as physical places. And I think that it's an interesting point, because I do feel like there would be chaos. People would just not pay attention to it if there was no reward. If there was no reward in return. So my other point is that if we was to approach these stories of prophets and looking at heaven and hell, what I've just mentioned, as a more allegorical, do you think that could be a message that you could be open-minded to? That's my question.
Yeah, I'm open-minded to either one. Actually, the people's decision to perhaps maybe mislead people into thinking it's one thing when it's really another, then eventually the misleading never stops. And that's what we have to be mindful of. I do understand what you mean by the pure Sufi approach, because in every religion, you have the Gnostics, then you have Christianity. You have the ultra Kabbalistic representation, and then you have Judaism. So you have Islam and you have the Sufism. So there's always the dichotomy. There's always the metaphysical approach and then kind of like the literal approach, the most dense approach that most people take. I see it in every culture, you know. So I would definitely be more inclined to Sufi doctrine as opposed to the conventional Islam. Like I'd be more inclined to the Gnostic aspect as opposed to Christianity. Like I would be more inclined to the Kabbalistic approach and Gematria, numerology, more so than I would be than the surface meaning of Judaism, because that's what I vibrate off of more so. You know, and it's more plausible because I understand the intention behind it ultimately is to raise consciousness, right? And so it speaks to the narrative that it's two different types of people on the planet, right? So, yeah, some people are, you know, very literal, and other people, if you give them input, they could probably give you an output of 6, 7 things. Like some people, you say 2 + 2 = 4. That's as much as you're going to get back out of them. Other people, you say 2 + 2 = 4. They may tell you, well, then if that's the case, 4 - 2 = 2. And if that's the case, 2 × 2 = 4. And if that's the case, 2 to the second power is 4. So some people operate like that, where you could give them one thing, but the output would be 4 or many more things. And that's intelligence. And other people are just smart. Whatever you tell them, they could recite it.
You really think I'm gonna sit here and sing the chorus to you? Landing on it doesn't want to work to be able to afford throwing that ass in the circle. This is lyrical fitness. Sick and I'm gifted. It's ridiculous. This prick is a feminine bitch. With 2 bars on the cane into the center of his lip. Twizzlers get bit. The color of lipstick to smother his kids with. Looking like a booty goon pirate. Screaming out. Take a douche kid. Shove it up and smack him like a pool stick. Slam him in the lock. Up and doing live streams in the night in pajamas. A buttoned up shirt with the boxes. Get the Glocks on. Let it off. Catherine Brown look like one of them caked up faces in a magazine. Mad at me? I would happily take her on a date, Applebee's. Jack off my sperm in a plate, bon appetit. I'm a good guy, Chucky in the flesh. Old school rap, you're not rocking with the best. My ding-a-ling, my ding-a-ling. I want you to play with my ding-a-ling. Scarlet, oh shit, I'm getting off topic. Double entendres coming all at once. You're a tourist, surgical lure his girl to adore us. Oh, mama ocean, Babylonian, Machiavellians, bombing ornaments. Solomon's a king, onomatopoeia, not the lottery. Am I your property, monopoly? Oligopoly, commodity is what you got to be. Socrates, philosophy, bomb atomically. Montavious, wood grain, walks wobbly, balling me. What up, girl? I'm King Kong conscious. Shake your little booty till my dick get longer. I'm the type to rearrange your face in the mirror. Your circadian rhythm is as blurred as your vision. Chauvinist pig with a Doberman pincher to go and get rid of the dough. I'm a flip son of a bitch. Can't you all take a joke? Who want the smoke when I put out the flame? I do this forever, ain't new to the game. In conclusion, however, the screws in my cranium calculated every move when I'm making them go and lip shit again on a track. When I mess up, I'm like, oh, what the fact? Just get to the facts. Spitting like, yeah, here, kitty, kitty, there's 20 kittens literally here. Sitting with me staring at pennies. Hoppity hop, skippity skip the hook. This isn't it. This is the bridge and it goes as hard as Tiffany's tits. The kid is a menace. Before the doors are closed, we'll do the rodeo. Forgot the lyrics to the song and how the chorus go. But you know what? I do not know what you already know. We'll do-si-do. Let's do-si-do the chorus, yo.